Hey everyone, welcome to Home Service Headquarters. Today we are super excited to bring you part 2 of our interview with Andy Paz from Paz Window Cleaning. He started his window cleaning business 8 years ago with no background, no experience, and nothing but a drive to learn and succeed. And here we are 8 years later, his business is thriving, he's enjoying being his own boss, and him and his wife have nearly 400 YouTube videos documenting their journey and helping people like you learn how to start, run, and grow your own home service business. If you haven't already listened to part 1, I encourage you to pause, go listen to that first, since there are some great nuggets of wisdom for you there, and then come back and join us for part 2. In part 2, Andy's going to break down his favorite software, whether he thinks window washing can be a side hustle, and some common misconceptions of starting a home service business. Welcome to Home Service Headquarters. Let's dive in. So going back a few steps in our conversation, you were talking about going about bidding and pricing out. Do you have any more insight on just how to go about pricing out a job?
Yeah, so I mean, in the beginning, you're not going to know what to price and not to bid and all that. If you want to go the safe route and just kind of charge per window type of thing, that can be the best bet. Like I don't know, you can start off like let's say $5 a window. If they want inside and out, charge $10. I'm talking about we're going the low end. So if
Yep.
in LA, I can never survive with those prices because it's very expensive here. But especially being licensed and insured, but maybe start off in that like kind of like motto, like hey, outside, if it's French windows, I would suggest that every 3 windows is 1 window, so that kind of keeps it, because if not,
Yep.
French windows, you make a lot of money at that point, right? But just maybe 3 windows for one, and then see if it's a storm window. We don't have that issue here, but make sure it's a storm window.
Yep.
But kind of count that way. But I would say like the icing on the cake, once you kind of pass that and your confidence from going door to door and in doing in person when they call you, is to have a contract. Have a
Yep.
contract that's kind of like the end result, but also too, because you'll save yourself too. I have another story if you want me to say it about that, but also too to have like kind of like a business management tool that essentially helps you to organize your clients, because yeah, in the beginning you're just happy, you're like, oh, I'm getting all this work, and you're doing all these things,
Yep.
but then a year later you're like, shoot, like where did all these clients go? And then you're going to be like unorganized, and like, did I send them an invoice like in text messaging, or did I just kind of say word of mouth? Because then from there, like I still, like for my first clients, I don't know what I charge them, and I'm just kind of
Yep.
like, well, my minimum's this, like I know yours is lower than that, but is that good enough? So having that organized, and especially like having the clients, you can see when was the last time I serviced their job, like it was it like, some, depending on the field, right? You do their job every week, every month, every 6 months. But when you start getting all these clients, it's impossible to know, like where did you find them? Not everyone's going to be texting you. You have,
Yep.
other, like let's say Yelp, Google, they message you in those platforms, and so it becomes a headache. So if you have that as
Totally.
an organizing, have everyone there, and also obviously it tells them what service you provide and how much you're charging. Then once you get to the job, then from there, have a contract, and then from there you should be pretty much
Yeah,
golden.
no, we've talked about you've used and explored many different softwares. Do
Mhm.
you have one that you currently use and recommend? And does that change for, let's say, someone who's just getting into business and maybe their budget's not huge?
Yeah, so I fell into Project to Payment, and Project Payment was just very awesome business management tool that I still use every single day, and it's really great because it helps me organize everything. And what I really like is that the price point is really good too. It's just $20 a month, and right now they're having a promotion that you can get your 3 months free if you use my link. But at
You
least
just
try it out. but uh, but uh, but at least they let you try it out, because ultimately a lot of softwares now, they feel like they only give you like 2 weeks, and that's not a lot of time to kind of like get into it. Because like, let's say for example, you have a service job that you do more frequently, maybe once or twice a month, if not more, and like you're using that for 2 weeks. After that, you're kind of just like, hey, like, why did you change softwares? Do you not use that anymore? And they kind of get used to this certain software. But this one, at least you can try it out for like 3 months, see how it is, and all that. And at the same time, what's nice is that everything's just so organized, and they like a couple of points I really like. is that like for example, like we might have a lot of things in our mind. Again, you have to, like I said, I'm a sole proprietor, or now we're an LLC, but back when I was buying, I'm thinking of when I was just starting the business. So if you see
Yep.
me kind of going a little bit old school, I'm trying to remember. But just having like to be the person to give the bid, to do the job, to follow up, to ask for a review, to do all these different things. In the beginning, if you have one client, yeah, you have all the time in the world. But when you start getting like a recurring client, like for me personally, before I fell into project to payment, I used to send a text message like a day before. Hey, I just want to let you know that I'll be there between this and this time. See you tomorrow, right? And like kind of
Yep.
remind them. When you start getting really busy, you start forgetting, because like
Yes.
especially in the summer months, it's super hot. You get drained. You're not dehydrated, but you just drained from like just the weather and everything. You drink a lot of water, then you go home, you just crash until the next day. You might forget to let the person know, especially if you book them months in advance, and then from there, you forget to message them. Then they're like, hey, you coming tomorrow? And you're like, oh yeah, I am coming. So something like that. And then from there, once you get the job done, from there you just send them, or you get you have like the whole setup already placed there, because once the job is done, you just say okay, they give you cash, they pay with a credit card or a check.
Yep.
Then from there you just say okay, you were done, here's your receipt, and then you're done deal. And then nice is that there's also a review afterwards. You get your Google page and just put it in
Yep.
there.
I mean, that's huge. I think we've been talking about that those Google reviews when you're starting out are gold, and having
Yeah.
something that's automating that process of asking people for a review after a job is done
Mhm.
is just, I think, can't be overstated what kind of value that is,
But
and
you can
how
also
legit that
mention,
makes your business.
yeah, and you can also mention to them too, like you were saying, like you can just say, "Hey, I'm going to send you a link for a review. If you can leave me a review, that'll be great." And that's kind of it. And then
Yep.
from there, when you send the receipt, the link is already there. They already have it in their mind. Like,
Yes.
that guy did a really nice job. Let me go give him a
He
review.
was
So it's
really
already
friendly.
there.
I liked him. Yeah, be
Yeah, yeah,
friendly. Reminder to
yeah.
everybody, be friendly.
Yeah, be friendly. Don't start threatening them. Give me a review.
That's awesome. So, what's your promo code? You said you have a 3 month off promo code. Is it Paz?
Yes, it's pause window cleaning, and you put that there, and then I will. I mean, I'm sure we'll have like a link in the bottom of here, so make it a little bit easier.
All right, we will add that link. Head to projecttopayment.com and you can use Paz Window Cleaner to get 3 months free. They're
Mhm.
also one of the sponsors of this channel, so if you like that podcast, check them out. Nice plug, Paz. On that note, so you said that's maybe the software you would choose, $20 a month. It's good pricing. But what about physical tools? Let's say someone's just starting. They're like, all right, I'll do project to payment for my software. I'll manage my customers there. But man, I have a 2003 Toyota Camry, and I'm heading to Home Depot to get my first 5 physical tools. What are those tools you'd say that they should stuff into their Camry? Maybe have the pole sticking out the window.
Yeah, no, that's dedication. So that's going to be a foundation, and hopefully, I'm kind of like helping everyone here that trying to like leave a foundation, because the foundation you said in the beginning, it's only going to make you appreciate everything in the long run. Because
Yeah.
yeah, we're kind of like having a little bit of shortcuts, like hey, project payment will make things a lot easier. Oh, getting this, getting that will make things easier, but it's also good to have that foundation. Go to
Yep.
your friends. Hey, can I do your windows? Do content. Go then from there, you have door to door. Are you going to get every door? Absolutely not. But at least you have that foundation of talking with someone, having that confidence, doing this. So to answer your question about the tools, it's great because when you go there, the tools that you really need is just a mop and squeegee, right? A ladder. That's another important thing, because you need to
Yep.
have a ladder. You would need a pole. They have a pole that they have. Just use regular Dawn dish soap. You don't need to have the Unger one.
Nice.
I think it's a scam
Pro
because
tip.
yeah, I think it's a scam because I tried it because remember, I was like no knowledge. I saw
Yeah.
one guy on YouTube say, "Oh yeah, the Home Depot has window cleaning." I was like, "All right." I bought everything. Oh, it says soap for window cleaners. I was like, "Let's buy it." And then I was like, afterwards, I was like, "Man, that didn't really work." So a buddy of mine was like, "Just use Dawn. It's good." I use Miss Myers as a personal choice, but it's
Yep.
literally the same thing. It's just do you like the smell of it? It's pretty much like that, right? But
Yep.
but yeah, no, I would say that's kind of the essential, because this will be a great foundation. Because like for example, let's say you need to do a house and you can't put a ladder on the window. You have that pole to get you to that window.
Yes.
You start to learn to do like it's called fanning. That is like literally a fan. You're going left, right, left, right. And you're kind of going down with your pole because what happens if you would have just came in, have the top end equipment? We can talk about that later, but top end equipment. Then from there, you're going to be like, oh, I can't use that equipment in this one window. How are you going to solve that? So it's nice to have that foundation, learn these different things. Now, do I do a lot of things that I did in the beginning? No. But when I do go back, I'm like, man, I'm a little rusty, but at least I know the technique. I know how to do it. And then
Yep.
from there, it just makes things so much easier.
So if someone has a vehicle,
Hmm.
what do you think? Could they start a business with $100 in their pocket, window cleaning?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Maybe one,
Absolutely.
I would say maybe just make sure the job ahead of time because, like I said, maybe you might need a ladder, but maybe focus on not having a job that needs a ladder type of thing. But oh, definitely, I think
We all have an uncle who will loan us a ladder for the first week of our business.
yeah. I use a Little Giants, so I don't know if that
Nice.
helps out. So Costco sells it, and depending on your
Yes.
car, maybe you need a smaller one. But yeah, I mean, you can literally start. I mean, a squeegee and mop is like now they're getting expensive with inflation and everything. But
Yeah.
you can get just the basic stuffs. I mean, Dawn dish soap is not that expensive, but just mop, squeegee, a pole, and a bucket. I mean, those four things right there. I think you can pretty much do any job. But now, will it be as successful with other equipment? Probably not, because
Yep.
maybe the squeegee is not the right size, or maybe the rubber is not good, so things like that. But yeah, you could definitely start. It's just you just be selective.
Be selective and you'll move up. You'll move up quickly.
Yeah.
Just keep at it. All right. Well, you led really well into this segment we like to call Can It Side Hustle.
Hmm.
So we talked about that you don't need a lot to start the business.
Hmm.
But a lot of people wonder, do I have to quit my job day one and dive right in? Or if I'm a little risk averse, could I keep doing what I've been doing? Maybe um, working at In and Out or having my full time job and start this as a side hustle instead. Do you have some advice on whether or not window cleaning can be a side hustle to start?
Yeah. So a little thing that I kind of see, like I don't know if you've kind of seen the theme of me, like in this whole podcast, is that I don't like to take chances. In a sense, I kind of want to say like, okay, let's start off with this, try to see how it can work, and then eventually try to progress, right? So the reason why I'm saying that is because I get this question all the time about like having a side hustle. Is can I do this as a my career? And I would say absolutely, but at the same time, don't quit your job to do this 100%. I would recommend not to do that whatsoever because
Cool.
you have a job. It's
Yep.
you want to stick with something that already is working, right? But because in reality, you can use that job and that pay that you're getting to get maybe the better equipment. Maybe you don't get the Home Depot
Yep.
tools. Maybe you get like the higher end. I'm just going to throw out cars because I like cars, but like let's say you have a Toyota and Honda, right? Let's say that's like the Home Depot. They're good, reliable, it'll
Mhm.
work. But like, let's say you want to get into luxury, the more BMW, more Mercedes, you can get that. It'll make your life a little bit easier, but at the same time, it's more expensive, right? So
Yep.
having that as a side hustle, the window cleaning will be great because maybe you can have, if you're working full time or part time, focus on that. Then from
Yep.
there, maybe work on the weekends, or maybe if you have a day off or something and someone wants their service done, then do that. But then once you start building a reputation, having quite a few reviews, because reviews, I'm going to be honest, when I had it, it's great. And to start off with, that's the best.
Yep.
But when you first start out, if you have five, people are taking a chance on you because they
Yep.
are like, I don't know who you are. I don't know how your work is. Even if you have content, they're still
Yep.
taking a chance on you. But once you start having like, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 plus reviews, then from there, you're like, all right, great, right?
Yep.
So the reason I'm saying that is because if you get the best tools in the beginning, then no one hires you. Then it's like, what are you going to do? But if you
Yep.
have those jobs lined up, maybe save up for like a water fed system, which would make your life so much easier. You don't have to worry about getting on a ladder. But at the same time, it's like having that. It's like, okay, you have this Monday to Friday job, work on the weekends. Man, I can't. My weekends are fully booked. I need to start working on the weekdays. Maybe take a vacation day to, don't. I hope
Yep.
don't not call sick. I will say that and skip work to go do window cleaning. But take a vacation day or wherever if you work part time, fit it in those slots that are off. But then from there, see like, okay, this is something that I can see myself. I know a lot of people do that all the time. I was the opposite. I had no work going into this, but I know a lot of people too had a job transition. They don't want the 9 to 5 job. They kind of just want to have everything work in a way that they make their own schedule. Hey, you want to go on vacation next week? You can, but that's later on when you're kind of, okay, I need a vacation from all this work. But just having that foundation of, starting with your job first, keep it there. And then I know this kind of hurts me saying this, but maybe you don't like window cleaning. Maybe this is a field that you might not like. A lot of people show like, oh, look, I have a flexible schedule. I can clean all these windows, but maybe you don't like being in the sun. Maybe, maybe you're more of an introvert. You don't like talking with people that, to give a bid and all this. And maybe it's too much. Best part is you still have a job, and it's nice because that helps. But at the same time, I'm more of be safe than sorry.
Yes, I mean, there's a couple phenomenal things like that. So your quick answer is 100%. This can be a side hustle, and for some people, and maybe many people, it should be a side hustle first. And you mentioned a couple benefits to that. One is your main hustle can be the financial backing for this new business, and you're not losing that revenue stream. And two, I think it's very realistic. You might start a side hustle and find out you don't like it.
Yeah.
So starting the cleaning business on the side will actually let you dip your toes in with, as Andy said, that low risk baseline. That's awesome. That's great advice.
And kind of like one point that you're saying is that like I could say, oh, Andy, I want to get into window cleaning. I have all the money in the world, right? Like the money's not a limit. I just want the best of the best, right? Well, a water fed system, like a 3-stage, like that's pretty much like 90% of the United States use. We're just going to focus United States because I don't know anywhere else, but like more than, yeah. So, okay. But like 90%, if not more of United States has hard water. So like, for example, so you would need a 3-stage system. If you're that fortunate, select people that have that 10% of soft water, then you can get like a 1-stage instead of a 3. Yep. But the reason I'm saying that is because a 3-stage system starts at like $1,500-$1,600. And so that's just like the starting point. And then you need to buy the hose reel that can be a couple hundred. Then you need a pole. So like, it's not just like, oh,
you need to wrap your truck and then, oh wait, you need a truck.
That's later. But yeah, I mean, I had a RAV4 for the longest time and that got me work and, it was great. And then our Ford Maverick just kind of fell into our lap because it was like, hey, a truck hybrid, not to go off subject, but it was like, hey, if you trade in your RAV4, you'll get a really good deal. So it was kind of like a no-brainer because, not in a bad way. It's good in the beginning. I'm not going to deny that. But at the end, when you start going to certain people's homes, they're going to be like, is this like your full-time job or part-time job? But because it's my full-time, I want it to be that way. But anyways, but that's why I say like it's nice to see if you like this line of business. Work is work, but do you like giving bids? You like doing this? You like doing that? Because essentially, you could start off with the water fed, but at the same time, it's like, what happens if you didn't like it? Maybe you didn't like anything. You're like, oh, I bought the system and now I can't do anything now. And you try to, figure out. Yeah. So, anyways, it's just just take the easy steps because essentially, when you cannot use the water fed, let's say you do progress and do the water fed. Then from there, you can't go back and be like, oh, or you can't go back and be like, oh, I can, squeegee this one window and it's easy. You know? So, yeah.
That's awesome. I love just talking about that they can do it. They can start it as a side hustle and it can grow from there. But I love your perspective now, kind of being someone who's made it, to use the term made it, who has you're doing it full time. You're documenting your journey to a 6-figure income. What would you say, to someone who's asking, is it worth it? Like, what's on the horizon? What are the benefits to owning my own business? What are those freedoms that I get? Or I guess, why do you love it personally?
So as I started to today, things have changed a lot. And obviously, when I started, when I was single, now I'm married, happily married.
Yes.
And yeah, she's a really awesome wife. But in the beginning, when I first started, I wanted a job. I love traveling. I love traveling a lot. I lived in Italy for a couple months. I lived in Norway. I've lived in Brazil for a month, and just trying to try something else. And so at the time when I was trying to apply to this Trader Joe's and all this stuff, I was thinking when I was doing all these jobs like for window cleaning, I was like, can I still travel and still have this as a profession? Because you're not cleaning the same house every week or every month. I mean, unless it's a storefront. I'm talking about like
Yep.
residential. You're not doing it all the time. You're doing it maybe every 3 to 6 months, sometimes once a year. So I was like, oh, maybe I can start doing this, kind of, and then travel, which I don't regret whatsoever. But the younger you are, I would say is the best to actually start a business because you can have all the faults, all the hiccups, the bad decisions. Maybe you're undercharging because, like right now that I'm older, now I kind of went through all that. But if I would have started today, it would have been like, oh, okay, now I'm going to get into the swing of things. But once you're younger and you're getting into it, I mean, of course, if you're working for someone, you kind of already know how things are. That's kind of a benefit for working for
Yep.
someone else, even if it's not the same field. But having that all going forward is like nice. But now that we're doing it full time, like my wife and I, now we want to like have this YouTube or want to have a YouTube channel. We have that going, and I kind of wanted it to be like, hey, this is a journey of a window cleaner. It's not just like, hey, this is a job that it doesn't pay well, or it doesn't give you that flexibility. Because my wife and I, we just came back from New York last week, and it was fun. We were there. And it was, just a little time off, but I don't have to ask anyone. Hey, can I take
Yep.
a week off? I could just be like, if clients text me, hey, I want my windows cleaned, I'm fully booked until next week. It's not
Fully
live,
booked in New York, in the Bahamas.
Yeah, there you go. Oh yeah, we went to the Bahamas too. Yeah, but that was fun. But again, it's like just having all that. It's yeah, things change, but it's nice because once you have that as a foundation, then from there, when you start growing up, you can see like, what, I don't like this job. I've had a couple of
Yep.
clients. That's going to be too many stories, but I've had a couple of clients where I give a bid and they're just very difficult, or they want me to do a service that I don't do, and it just becomes very complicated. But in the beginning, I'll be like, okay, no problem, no problem, let's do it. But now it's kind of like I'd rather just like lose the job, not get that pay
Yep.
from that job, but yet have less headaches. So you kind of have that as a balance.
Totally. And I like what you said there is it depends on your phase of life, really
Yeah,
what your goals are. Maybe when you're single or young, you're willing to take some risks. You're willing to live off of McChickens and
yeah, yep.
McDoubles.
Oh yeah,
But when
go
you're
for lunch.
married or maybe you have kids, your risk tolerance changes. Maybe
Mhm.
your baseline for what you can drop down to changes. And that's where it's great that you can start this as a side hustle and really you're not changing your baseline finances so much. You're just adding on effort and stress to your life,
Yeah,
which is a different sort of thing. Also, needing to be discussed with your significant other. I'm going to lead us to this next segment called Hit or Miss Rapid Fire.
okay,
So, what we do during this segment, I'm going to hit you with a fact or a statement rather, and
okay.
you're going to respond with either hit, you think it's accurate, or miss, you don't think it's accurate, and a brief explanation as to why you think the statement is true or false.
All
Does
right.
that sound okay?
Do I have a shot clock or a timer or no? Or we're good.
We're good. All right. Hit or miss. You need big time expensive equipment and a nice truck to get started in window cleaning.
Definitely a miss. We kind of talked about it. I had a RAV4 for pretty much my whole business career. I just got it within the last year, my truck, but my whole time, just a simple car. It was great on gas, super reliable. Went to Home Depot, pretty much had all my equipment from there for I don't know how many years. It did its job, it did its purpose, and yeah, I mean, you don't have to get the like latest and greatest. You can just start off with the most basic, and then from there, if you want, you can. I know people that have the original mops and squeegees from Home Depot, which is great. But it gives you that option if you want to upgrade or not. But start with the basics. Yeah.
Nice. Take 50 bucks and whatever car you have, head to Home
Yeah.
Depot and get started. Hit or miss number two. You need years of training before you start your own business.
It's definitely a miss. I mean, I was fortunate to have, like I said before, my friend giving me that job that was a huge house and all that. But practice at home. You don't have to have all these years of experience. If you mess up on your window, it's your house. Do it at your friend's house if you don't have the ability to do it at your house. I know some
Yep.
people live like maybe in a very high level building, they can do it on the outside for windows. But yeah, I mean, it's super simple. Just keep trying back and forth. And I know when I'll be honest with you guys, when I started learning how to fan, because I would always do straight pulls. That was the easiest, go to just straight pull easy, right? But when I did fanning, it took me a couple weeks to like master that. Even though, I'm trying my best, it just didn't feel right. And then once I started getting the hang of it and that training that I did at home, even at people's homes too, I was kind of training. It just made my life so much easier. But yeah, definitely don't need years of training now.
Awesome. You can enroll in YouTube University, hop over to Paz Window Cleaning, check out their 350 videos, and learn what you need and practice on your own house. I think that's super, super wise. All right, hit or miss number 3. It is a waste of time doing small jobs.
So that one, I'm going to say both hit and miss because I know that when I first started, I would try to get any job as possible, even if it was like one window, 2 windows. I didn't have a minimum, but
Yeah.
I would encourage start off with a minimum. But the small jobs, yeah, like those ones were like kind of like helping me build that confidence, get content. So sometimes in the beginning, that's good to at least use that for content, right? But once
Yep.
you start having the business, for quite some time, maybe even the first year, after that, you can kind of be like, no, I'll focus more on, jobs that, pay a little bit more, but you already have that experience. And so maybe, kind of towards the end, like right now, I don't do small jobs anymore because it doesn't make sense to me, like to do one window, so.
Yep. That's awesome. Thanks for doing the hit or miss rapid fire with us.
Yeah.
I just have a couple more questions before we wrap things up. For the people out there who they're grinding, they're working on their business, and they just want to learn from someone who's been there. What's a hard-earned lesson or something you needed to learn the hard way while doing your business?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Put you
No,
on the
that's
spot there.
no, it's a very valid question because I have to think of like many. There's probably different ones, but I'm just trying to pick one. I would say know what you're getting yourself into. I think that that's going to be the best because essentially, super short, long story short, I again when I first started, I didn't know a lot of things, and so I was kind of just winging things, just trying to see how things go. But I invested in a one-stage water-fed system, and that was kind of like a hard lesson that I had to learn
Mm.
because I invested like $1,000. It came with the pole and it came with the thing, but I didn't know technique. And at the same time, a resin is like, I'll just make it easy. It was like $100 for like a whole resin. It was, I got it, I think at Walmart or something. It was just like a regular resin. It came in a pack of 4. You get a deal because, more than the
Yep.
more you have, the cheaper it is. But I remember like not knowing anything about it. And I was just kind of like, okay, just go and clean. A lot of times I'll have a lot of spotting that kind of like sucked a lot because I would have to go back. I have to, touch it up again. And it was just like a waste of time for nothing. But if I would have known like, hey, if I would have got a 3-stage system and using the right techniques, maybe cleaning the frame and the window, do a couple others, then come back and do that same window, would have saved a lot because at the beginning I would
Yep.
just do all at once. So I guess the best would just be kind of like practice ahead of time and also know what you're investing into because that $1,000 was almost at 1,500. I could have just, or 1,600.
Yep.
I could have just got that system, made my life a little bit easier. But yeah, I mean, I'll just stick with just one because I'm trying to think of others. But I think, yeah, just know what you're getting yourself into and have a minimum. I think that was a good one too.
Cool. All right. If you had one piece of wisdom to give to someone who is about to launch their business for the first
Mhm.
time, as far as getting their first customer, getting their first review, and just putting that first step in the right direction, what would that be?
Okay, so I'll break it into 2 parts. But the first, I would say, we kind of talked about it already. Have a foundation, have that, and that only is going to grow, right? Like, for example, if you're going to plant something, you can't just plant anywhere. You have to have soil, you have to have somewhere to, let it grow type of thing. So if you have that as a foundation of going to your friends, family, hey, I'll do your windows, even if you do it for free, not a problem. Do that. Also do it at your house. Just make sure you don't. Maybe sometimes some people don't want to have their address or something kind of
Yeah.
personal, in the way. You don't want to take a video and they're on a computer, or maybe they're like doing something, personal, and you can't.
Be respectful.
Yeah, because sometimes have documents and like paperwork, and they sometimes have things on the wall. Like, yeah, this is from experience, but yeah,
Yes.
but just be careful what's inside, the house and stuff, or an address. Just be careful of that. But just kind of have that, kind of just, take pictures, have that content. Then from once you have that, open up socials, your Instagram, Facebooks, and then it's kind of half of that, open up a Google, Yelp, just do anything that's free, just kind of have that as like a foundation. And then once you have all of that, then from there you can start growing. Then once you don't want to start cleaning windows and don't know how to clean. You don't want to start kind of cleaning windows and can't get reviews. You kind of want to have all that into one, and then kind of from there, just kind of just set yourself up in that way. And I forgot my part two, but I think that's just laying the foundation will help out a lot. And yeah, everything should be golden after that.
And maybe part two is head over to Paz Window Cleaning LLC on YouTube and follow the journey and learn how to run a successful window cleaning business from a couple that is doing it today.
Yeah.
Andy, thank you so much for being on the show today. This was a joy talking to you.
No, yeah, I'm just glad to be here. It's just a nice to be invited to do something like this. I try my best to help everyone out, and it's just, I didn't have anyone when I first started, so just trying to do my best to help as much as I can and actually be real, actually have content
Yes.
that is like, hey, this is how you set up. Hey, this is how you clean. Hey, this is how you do that. And then in reality, it's not like, oh man, I don't know what I'm doing. Does this even work? You invest in this, and it's like, so yeah.
Totally. You're putting yourself out there, and we just all appreciate it and are benefited from it. So if you want to follow Paz and Achille on their 100K journey, go to their YouTube, Paz Window Cleaning LLC, or follow them at Paz Window Cleaning on Instagram. If you're near Pasadena, California, and you need some window cleaning services from someone with a perfect 5-star rating on Google with over 90 reviews, that's impressive, man, keeping that 5-star. It doesn't take much to drop it to a 4.9, so impressive. Reach out to them at pazwindowcleaning.com. And if you need a software for $20 a month, you can get 3 months free, projectpayment.com. Use the code PazWindowCleaning and you'll get 3 months free. Paz, thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah, no, thank you. And thank you for being such a great host.
You bet. We'll talk to you again soon. Thanks so much for joining us today on Home Service Headquarters and listening to our amazingly fun conversation with Andy Paz. Like we said, you can find all of his content on his YouTube channel, Paz Window Cleaning LLC. And if you're near Pasadena, California, you can head over to pazwindowcleaning.com and get in touch about any of their window cleaning services. Like Paz mentioned, if you want 3 months free of project to payment, his favorite tool for all things customers, bidding, invoicing, and payments, go to project2payment.com and use the code PazWindowCleaning. We will see you next time. Thanks for joining us on Home Service Headquarters.